Or are Americans just stupid? Stupid! Is Elon Musk a genius? Or are Americans just stupid? That is the question of the hour. That is what we're trying to answer today. One. So I'm going to start off this live stream with a question for any Elon Musk fans or conservatives. I'm going to ask you a very basic question. I'm going to go get some gas first. This should be interesting how I'm going to do gas while I'm doing a live stream. But anyway, here's my question to you. Not the title of the video. What would it look like if Elon Musk was to some degree incompetent? What would Elon Musk as an incompetent person look like? What would Elon Musk as a person not qualified to do what he's doing look like? Contrast what we see now, what's happening now, with that, right? Or another way to ask the question is, what would Elon Musk have to do for you to scratch your head and be like, this guy, I don't trust this guy. It doesn't seem like he knows what he's doing. This guy is doing a horrible job right now. What would have to happen to transition from what we see now to where you're in that moment saying, this is not the guy, and this is bad, this is dangerous? Similar to the way you would if, say, you hired a electrician and he shows up late, he smells like garbage, and he keeps asking you questions that you already explained multiple times. He comes in and he's focused on the lighting in the bathroom, but you actually called him about the, an outlet in the bedroom, right? You know what I mean? Like, all these things are things that you would look at and say, man, this electrician is like, this guy's no good. You'd probably feel very uncomfortable with him working on your system, seeing his conduct, right? What would that look like for Elon Musk? What things would he have to do? What behavior would you need to be like, I don't trust this guy, and this guy seems incompetent? You think Elon Musk being incompetent, he's a genius. Look at SpaceX and look at Tesla and look at all the things that he's done. Well, there's a lot of different ways to process that information. Let's start with the low-hanging fruit. He did not found Tesla, but he did spend a lot of effort to make it seem as if he did. And why would he need to do that? Why would some genius be looking for, ways to make himself seem like a genius if he's actually a genius, right? If he's an actual genius, he would have founded Tesla, and he would have been the one who created the car and all this kind of stuff, and he'd be, that would be his accolade, right? But instead, what we have is a guy who spent more time, instead of being a genius, trying to present himself as such, trying to rewrite history, get the founders of Tesla's name out of stuff, right? Trying to get him on like TV commercials and publicity and whatever. And I know if you really like him, or you like what's going on, your brain is gonna go, well, that's how businesses are. You gotta market and promote, and the CEO is supposed to. I'm well aware of that, but that's not quite what this was. So that's number one. And I guess I'll leave a final detail. His contribution to Tesla in the beginning, questionable at best. So these guys created this wonderful new invention, and Elon Musk got his grubby little hands on it as an investor. And then he starts saying, we got to change this, we got to change that, and retire this, and whatever. And thanks to him and all of his ideas, he delayed them getting things to production significantly. And there isn't much of a major advantage. It's not like he delayed it to make it so much more wonderful. It's kind of like, what did we gain? I mean, he cost him a lot of money for the crazy suggestions that he had. So he was doing crazy stuff from even back then. And then they didn't really benefit. It's not like, oh, thanks to him, like this thing is so wonderful. In fact, one of the things that he requested change, which cost a lot of money, he's still doing it now, and it's still a bad thing. If I remember correctly, it has to do with the door handle. Something about the door handle being electrical or something. And that's currently still, it's like a safety issue, right? So this is long ago, his great idea, right? This safety issue. And here we are, what is it, decades later, and he's still doing the stupid, dangerous thing that he cost him all this money and delayed production for. That was his contribution, but you won't hear about that because Elon Musk has made it that way, right? He, in many ways, is like Donald Trump. He's a big marketer, hypes himself up. He's like a Grant Cardone. He's like a Ty Lopez. Only the main difference with him is he chose in terms of business, he chose to actually do business, right? Not that Ty Lopez didn't do any business or Grant Cardone didn't do anything, but their main business, from all evidence, seems to be, I'm gonna teach you how to be successful like me and do all the great things that I supposedly did, right? But that ends up being the thing, right? The thing is, him selling these courses and him presenting himself as this genius, and I 10x this and I 10x that, like that ends up being the business. That's his claim to fame, right? Now, in contrast, Elon Musk chose a different route, and I guess, to his credit, he did have some kind of a engineering design mindset, somewhat. There was that seed that he wanted to create or build things. And I guess also back when he started out, this, online course thing was not really a thing back then. So that could be part of it as well, perhaps. But anyway, he chose the route of, I'm gonna invest in this, thing, and even let's even get into that. Like, it's interesting. The more you dig into Elon Musk and the reasons why that you might feel he's a genius, it's like things just start falling apart. It's just kind of like, what is going on here? So that's why you got to stop and ask yourself. Many of you make an assumption that Elon is a genius and he's done great things or whatever. That's just an assumption. It's like water is wet, right? Fire is hot for you, such that you may not even be able to articulate it in detail. You just have a feeling. And if you try to articulate it, you're just going to say stuff like, well, look at Tesla, look at SpaceX. But you're not going to have any context. You're not going to say, what he did with his company. He's just going to say, look, these great companies and whatever. And it's under his name. So, like, he's a great guy. But it's important to actually dig into the reason why you feel the way you do. You feel like Elon is a genius. Why is that? And if you start examining the many, is that a C5? Probably a C117. Anyway, you start digging in, it's kind of like things start falling apart if you actually dig in and actually try to understand like what's really going on and what did he actually do. So even the what was it? I forgot the company. Was it PayPal? He made something that he sold to Pay. What was the company? He made some. Oh, it was that directory company. He created some directory company which basically puts yellow pages online. Essentially, I'm not gonna say that's all it did, but that's basically the product. So he's basically taking something that exists and moving it to a new medium, which is internet. So that opens up massive levels of convenience. But I mean, the actual data itself was already there, right? It's like, for example, if let's see, what do we have right now? We have Google search engine. Everybody's using the Google search engine. It's a standard thing. It's already there. And then Elon Musk does this Neuralink thing where you put a chip in your brain, right? And then he invents Google and the Neuralink, and it's kind of like it was already there. We already had search engines. It's not like he invented search engine. He's just putting it in this new medium. So now you can do Google searches in your head. All right, that's kind of what he did. But regardless, put that aside. You could say, I just don't like Elon. I'm biased against Elon, right? Okay, you can believe that if you want to. The problem is when he sold it for big money, and this is a big part of, like, if you look at him as a genius in terms of how rich he is, how did he get rich? Because he's smart. One of the big paychecks that he got, one of the first big paychecks he got from selling this company. But then what happened with the company, right? So if you believe he created this great company and it was a great product, then why is it that the company that sold but bought it for all this money didn't actually end up using it? What? So he created this thing that's a great invention, and he's a genius. He's a genius for thinking about putting the yellow pages on the internet. Like, wow, who could have thought of that, right? But validation that it was genius is that he got a major company to pay millions of dollars for it, right? But then they didn't use it. Why would you spend millions of dollars to buy some product from Elon Musk and then not actually use it? Seems like it may not have been what you thought. Maybe Elon Musk hyped it up and got you all excited. Of course, I gotta pass. Somebody's running radar. I want to pass this truck, but somebody's running radar up here. It's like a setup. You're not getting me today, Smokey. I guess I'll just stay behind these trucks and drive really slow because I'm not gonna be. That's not gonna catch you. You're driving the speed limit, but you were just overtaking someone and they catch you speeding. Oh, he's on the other side. Okay, we're good. I think. I mean, he could. If he's aiming this way, I'm probably gonna show up on his screen. I think the way it works is it shows the fastest moving thing. It shows up on his screen. I think we'll be all right. I'm not even going all that fast. Anyway, so yeah, so a lot of the stuff from Elon Musk history is like smoke and mirrors. Him hyping himself up, right? Him overselling things. Him being dishonest. Good to see you engaged and enraged. So you said businesses buy businesses all the time and get rid of competition. Valid argument. Although another one, they running radar like crazy. So let's lock in the speed limit with a cruise control so I don't get distracted and end up flying by. They are out in full force. Oh, it's on the other side. Okay, probably backing up that guy. Yeah, that was him. All right. It's safe. I don't see any evidence that that's what the case was. I'll leave it at that. But I looked into it and I didn't see any evidence. I saw no evidence that they actually, I mean, obviously they thought it was very valuable when they bought it, but it seems like they wanted to use it and then it just ended up being like, didn't make sense to, or whatever reason. But anyway, bottom line is he made a lot of money for a product that didn't actually end up, being used. I don't know that he necessarily made much profit with it himself. So he definitely hyped it up, and it was like, oh, look, I got this wonderful thing. But then at the end of the day, and this is a guy who got kicked out multiple times. You know, a lot of times, you know, it was like his partners were like, this guy's a problem, and he has a history of that. There was one time where they were trying to make this big deal, and Elon was a problem. They were like, you know, we want to do this deal, but not with Elon around. Like, Elon's an issue. Elon has been an issue for a very long time, right? But let's get past that and get to where we are today. Let's assume that Elon Musk is in fact a genius, right? What would it look like if he falls on his head or has a mental collapse of some sort? Something breaks him to where he's no longer a genius, and he's not even a decent guy. He's actually incompetent and a huge liability. Like, what would that look like? What evidence would you see? If you like Elon and you think he's a genius, what would it look like for him to no longer be a genius and for him to become a liability and a screw up? Like, what would the evidence look like that you would see and you would be like, man, I really thought Elon Musk was a genius, but lately, man, I don't know, man. It's like it's a different guy, or something's wrong with him, or like, what would that look like? Like, what would that look like? Right? Because to me, it would look like what we see right now. And I just don't understand why there isn't a reaction. It's like, why can he still hold on to the genius title when there's no more evidence, current evidence, suggesting that he's still a genius? He's not doing genius things. He's operating on a level below average, right? Think about it for a second. Just think about it for a second, right? Nonpartisan, we're not trying to be ideological. We're not like, we hate Elon, we hate the Republican. That's not what we're talking about. We're just talking about, they like to say common sense, right? An average person who might be doing some kind of a government audit, right? Who might even do a screw up. Not saying they don't screw up, might even do a screw up at some point. They're not making the kind of mistakes that Elon Musk is making, the frequency of the mistakes that he's making. It seems like every day there's like mistake after mistake after mistake. Right? I mean, you calling millions billions. You firing people by accident, multiple people by accident, have to bring them back. Right? This level of screw up exceeds the level of a normal person, right? Somebody who's just not exceptional. Maybe they're not so detail oriented and they screw up. Even that person don't screw up this much. People who like what they're doing because they don't like the government. Government doesn't work, and government is inefficient, and they screw up all the time. Look at the government, the Defense Department, $1,000 for a light bulb, right? Even government don't screw up this much, right? When have you ever seen almost every single day, like, let's say there's a Secretary of Transportation or any role in our government where every single day it's not the same thing, right? It's multiple episodes, right? Like, let's look up Mr. Buttigieg or whatever. When he was Transportation Secretary, did you see like every single day? It's like today, he approved a spending project to fix a road, and the road doesn't exist. Oh, it's actually in Kansas, and he thought it was in Colorado. Oopsie, right? A couple days later, Buttigieg, he made an announcement that we're going to invest $2 billion to fix the infrastructure in the Northeast. Oh, actually, it was $200,000. Oopsie! A couple days later, oh, Buttigieg, Secretary of Transportation, he hired a team of people to help him out, and they're all like under 22, None of them had background checks. And one of them got fired from a job previously where he used the wrong kind of tar or something for the road, and the road collapsed. And this is the guy that's working on the roads. Buttigieg, what are you doing? Oopsie! And it's just on and on and on every single day. And then you hear Buttigieg, people ask him like, yo, what's happening? Why all these mistakes? And he goes on TV and he says, listen, man, we're going to make mistakes. I'm going to make more mistakes. There's going to be more, you know, roads will collapse. We might, you know, try to build a road in the wrong location. And you know what? We'll be transparent about it when it happens. And then every time it happens, he's not transparent and the media has to call him out. Right? When have you seen any of these incompetent people in the government show up to work, except for what's his name? What's that guy name with the guy who flipped the fake progressive guy? Fetterman? Except for Fetterman. When have you seen flunky government people that every single day it's a new failure, a new big mistake, this, that, something else? And I don't mean that's how people describe it. I mean literally, it's like just yesterday it was one thing, the next day some other mistake. When have you seen them also on top of that show up to work in like a hoodie or whatever he had on, bring their kid in the office and boogers on the president's desk? So not only is Elon Musk not acting like a genius, he's not even acting like an average person. He's not even acting like a corrupt, incompetent bureaucrat. That's the older bureaucrats. Even the incompetent bureaucrats don't get it this wrong so often. And it's just all around. Everything you're doing is just like amateur hour. So not only is he not, he's the amateur. Okay, I can't assess whether he's a genius or not, but I can't assess whether he's behaving like a genius. Everything we see points away from genius, away from average person, away from even incompetent government worker, bureaucrat, corrupt, whatever. It almost seems like what label better fits him would be drug addict. Am I wrong? If you try to find someone that screws up this much, this badly, right? Amateur hour every day, right? Oh, I'm not gonna follow any rules. Forget about protocols. Forget about safety. We're just gonna do it this way. Fire everybody. Da, 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 da. Oh, okay, we messed up this. Oh, the food's gonna rot on the. Okay, whatever. Right? Coming to work, dressed how you want to with your kid. Right? If the person was a drug addict, then it makes sense. Right? Not genius, not average, not corrupt bureaucrat, but a drug addict. I know it's hard to look at him that way because, again, you get distracted by SpaceX and Tesla and, you know, Starlink and all this kind of stuff. Elon Musk did not build Tesla. He did not build SpaceX. He's not building rockets. Right? He's not building Cybertrucks. He's not building Starlink. He's investing in these projects, right? I think the main thing that he actually built is that website, which was basically the Yellow Pages Online. So even that wasn't all that creative. I mean, if you think that's a genius, well, I'm a genius too, right? I had my accolade around a similar time as well. What did I do? I worked for a computer store back when the internet was starting to boom. It was this new thing. There goes Smokey again. They trying to make some money today. So a lot of companies didn't have websites yet, right? And I was the nerd on the internet playing around and doing websites and stuff. And I said, hey man, if we build a website, we could get more customers and more business. So what did I do? I said this to myself. I took it upon myself to sit down and I built a website for the company. Nobody asked me to do it, right? It was my idea. I built the website. Overnight, I got flooded. For you guys that are younger, you missed out on a golden age, right? Again, websites were a new thing. So me simply opening up a website, all I did is I put our store online. I didn't do anything that was like crazy, like, oh my goodness, we have a store, we already have a business, somebody built it, not me. I was familiar with the internet, how to build websites. So I built a website. I got flooded with emails. Now, for you guys that are younger, you're used to this digital age, everybody's online. So you don't understand what that meant. Back then, you were local. We were a local store. We only sold to people locally, right? It wasn't even, I mean, some people were doing like online mail order stuff, but we weren't really doing that. We were selling to a local market. I made the company global overnight by building a website. I got so many emails because we were selling laptops at a time where even that wasn't the thing. There wasn't a lot of places you could go and just pick up a laptop. Laptops were also new as well, becoming affordable. And by affordable, I mean a high-end laptop was $7,200, which I sold 5 of those to Harvard for like 50 grand or something. But anyway, so I built a website, and people that were all over the world who were on this new internet thing searched for laptop, and my website came up for the company I was working for, and they're like, oh wow, this is cool, look at these laptops, we want to order. So I started getting orders, and I got actual recognition from the owners of the company in one of our company meetings that we had, because there were like 3 locations in different cities or whatever. So I guess I'm a genius too. I'm a genius. I thought of the genius idea. Now don't get me wrong. You can sit and talk out your ass about what you want to do and have great ideas, but it's another thing to actually execute. So I do take some credit for the execution. I actually, had the idea and did it and had it working, right? So same thing with Elon. I could just dismiss it and say he put the yellow pages online, but still, other people could have done it, right? But he's the one that did it. He pulled it off. Anyway, I'm gonna wrap up because I'm gonna start coughing right now. Of course, I've been coughing for like 3 weeks. Everybody's sick. There's like bugs floating around. I don't know why. I got some kind of upper respiratory something. It's just been lingering for a while. But anyway, I don't know. Back to the original question. I don't know what it takes for people who like Elon Musk to like. What more would he have to do? You know what I mean? Like you have to talk extreme, because if he's doing now is not enough for you to be like, at a minimum, he's not a genius. At a minimum. If what he's doing right now is not enough for you to be like, okay, this guy's not a genius, at least. Hopefully you're at least concerned, like this guy may not be the one for the job. What will it take? Because if this is not shaking you, you're talking about he disappears for a month and nobody knows where he's at. Like, Doge is, everybody has questions like what's happening with Doge. Nobody knows where Elon Musk is. Like that's what it would take. If what you're seeing is not enough, that's what it would take, right? I would think, and I would hope that would be like, okay. Or would he be able to say, well, no, I needed a time to take some break, and everything, you need to be balanced, and it's a lot of stress, and I'm human, I'm human. Yeah, people say I'm a genius or whatever, and you can think whatever you want, but I'm still human, and why wouldn't you say that? Why wouldn't you say, hey, I'm taking a vacation? Why would you just vanish? Well, that's just how things happen. Would you still be hanging on? Would that be not enough for you to be like, this guy's not a genius? Or maybe let's see, what can he do? How do we get more extreme? He shuts down a program by accident, and then he's like, oh shoot, and he starts it back up, right? Then he shuts down the same program a second time, and oh shoot, that's the same, okay, and he restarts it. So like, shut down a program 3 times in a row, maybe 4 times in a row by accident, and then have to restart it. Like, is that what it takes? How about he shows up to work so high that they have to call security on him? He shows up and he's in the Oval Office and he's like throwing Kool-Aid on people. Like, would that be like, maybe he's a genius, but he's a genius that's also a drug addict. So the fact that he's a genius is no longer relevant anymore because the guy is literally throwing Kool-Aid on people in the Oval Office. This is a problem. Like, is that what it would take? Does he have to shit on the shit in the Oval Office? Just shit on the floor? Is that what it take? I don't know, man. I mean, with all the stuff we've seen, it seems like people are still sitting there like, Elon's a genius, and yeah, he's fixing things, and yeah, fraud and waste, and the fraud and waste. Anyway, this is the Debate Me channel. Debate me in the comment section below. Click on the like button, subscribe, smash that bell. Be well. It's hard to make a precise cut using a chainsaw. Imagine that. I guess you're more genius than Elon because you figured that one out. So maybe we should hire you to do the audit. The so-called audit. All right, guys. I'm out. Why does it sound like